गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल वंग, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंग। अब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे, गाहे तब जय गाथा। जनगण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all of you. As per the Government of India's directives, we have to read a शपथ संकल्प। तो मैं भारत सरकार के निर्देशानुसार गणतंत्र दिवस के इस शुभ अवसर पर आप सभी से संकल्प लेने का अनुरोध करता हूं। हम भारत के लोग भारत को संपूर्ण प्रभुत्व, संपन्न समाजवादी, धर्मनिरपेक्ष, लोकतांत्रिक गणराज्य बनाने के लिए उसके समस्त नागरिकों को सामाजिक, आर्थिक और राजनीतिक न्याय, विचार अभिव्यक्ति, विश्वास, धर्म और उपासना की स्वतंत्रता, प्रतिष्ठा और अवसर की समता प्राप्त करने के लिए तथा उन सब में व्यक्ति की गरिमा और राष्ट्र की एकता और अखंडता सुनिश्चित कराने वाली बंधुता बढ़ाने के लिए पुनः दृढ़ संकल्प होकर अपने इस सभा में एतद् द्वारा संविधान को अंगीकृत, अधिनियमित और समर्पित करते हैं। थैंक यू। आप लोग बैठ जाइए। Now I request Ms. Naila Alavi, student of BA English, to deliver her speech in English.
वतन की खाक से मरकर भी हमको उन्स बाकी है, वतन की खाक से मरकर भी हमको उन्स बाकी है, मज़ा है दामने मादर का इस मिट्टी के दामन में। Respected Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor, esteemed guests, dignitaries, teachers and all my fellow students present here. Assalamu alaikum and a very pleasant morning. Today, as we all have gathered here to witness the small program on the auspicious occasion of the 72nd Republic Day of India, I welcome you all. Respected audience, when India attained freedom on 15th August 1947, we did not have an instrument of governance of our own. We waited till 26 January 1950 when the Indian people gave to themselves a constitution to secure for all its citizens justice, liberty, equality, and gender and economic equality. We promised to promote fraternity, dignity of the individual, and integrity of the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me. Allow me to take you back in times of winters of December 1946. It was then that the importance of having a constitution became very evident. Following which, the drafting committee with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the chairperson was appointed with the objective to draft a permanent constitution for independent India. The committee then worked tirelessly for months, and on 4th November 1947, they submitted the first draft of the constitution to the assembly, which took over 2 years. Precisely 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to finally adopt the constitution. The closing lines in our preamble is read, and I read. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution. On 26 January 1950, India was declared a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. And the constitution assured the citizens of India justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. The credit goes to the strong institution of democracy built by our founders. Indian democracy has been a spring of stability in the regions troubled by unrest. From a population of 360 million in 1951, we are today a 1.6 billion strong nation. We are the second largest holders of scientific and technical manpower, the third largest army, and the sixth member in the race for space. The journey so far has been eventful, sometimes painful, but most of the time exhilarating. Respected audience, I referred earlier to the glorious period from independence. This was the period of constant dedication, determination, and commitment for improving our country. Today, we are at a similar juncture. We have achieved a lot as a nation, but much remains to be done. Our republic cannot be satisfied without meeting the basic needs and essential dignities of our less well-off brothers and sisters. As we pass into another day of joy and celebrations in our comfort zones, let us not forget the misery and plight of thousands of migrant workers, the people struggling for their life amidst a pandemic. The question of the hour is it not our responsibility to safeguard this constitution? The same constitution which was written on the land which was steeped with blood and tears of people who knew no caste, class, religion, or gender. India is and was always a diverse nation, and we, respected audience, we should preserve this diversity. On this, our 72nd Republic Day, let's take a pledge to give voice to the unheard, to raise our pen whenever injustice rises, and to safeguard the Constitution whenever the need arises. The promise of a developed India lies on our shoulders. This is the new stage of our nation-building project upon which we have to work. This is the republic that we, the people, need to take forward and enhance in keeping with our visions, our ambitions, and our ideals. I'm confident that we will draw inspiration from both our democratic values and Indian ethos. India is one of the most diverse nations, not only in terms of religion, caste, creeds, and tribe, but it also has varied cultures and traditions and languages which have together flourished for many centuries in making India the strong, independent nation on the face of the world map. Diversity gives ways to different ideas and multiple ways of implementing them in various fields of development. Diversity builds the moral character of a nation, developing the human psyche to face new challenges. Lack of diversity can isolate and marginalize a nation to monotony, a mechanism without growing interest that can lead to a slowdown in its progress. In the words of Nelson Mandela, it is not our diversity which divides us. It is not our ethnicity, our culture, or religion that divides us. Since we have achieved our freedom, there can only be one division amongst us, between those who cherish democracy and those who do not. Father of the nation Mahatma Gandhi once famously said, and I quote, "Today, let us remember the golden heritage of our country and feel proud to be a part of India." With these lines, I would like to end and wish you all a very happy, proud, and a thought-provoking Republic Day. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Ms. Naila Alvi. Now I'll request Mr. Asif Saud, student of MSc Industrial Chemistry, to deliver his speech in Urdu.
सदर आली वकार शेखुल जामिया मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी अलीगढ़ प्रोफेसर तारिक मंसूर साहब, नायब शेखुल जामिया प्रोफेसर ज़हीरुद्दीन साहब, रजिस्ट्रार जनाब अब्दुल हमीद साहब, काबिल सद एहतराम असातिज़ा इकराम, मुअज़्ज़ज़ सामईन, तलबा और तालिबात, सबसे पहले मैं आप तमाम लोगों को यौम जमहूरिया की पुरखुलूस मुबारकबाद पेश करता हूं। मुबारकबाद इस बात की कि आज ही के दिन 26 जनवरी 1950 में इस मुल्क ने यह फैसला किया कि हिंदुस्तान में एक ऐसी जमहूरियत होगी जो लोगों के लिए, लोगों से और लोगों के जरिए होगी। हुकूमत हर फर्द को बराबर का शहरी तस्लीम करेगी, दस्तूर की यकीन दहानी करी गई और यह कहा गया कि कोई भी हुकूमत मजहब, रंग, नस्ल और जात के बिना पर तफरीक नहीं करेगी। बरतानवी हुकूमत ने हिंदुस्तान को तोड़ दिया था, कहीं छोटी छोटी रियासतों में तो कहीं मजहब के अखाड़ों में। कहीं लोग अपनी जमीनों के लिए एक दूसरे से लड़ रहे थे तो कहीं तास्सुब के नशे में एक दूसरे के खून के प्यासे हो रहे थे। वो अजीम हिंदुस्तान कि जिसको सर सैयद ने एक खूबसूरत दुल्हन की तरह देखा, वो अजीम हिंदुस्तान कि जिसकी एक जानिब ख्वाजा मैनुद्दीन चिश्ती तो दूसरी तरफ गुरु नानक हैं, वो मादरे वतन कि जिसकी मिट्टी पर सजदों के निशान और जिसकी फजाओं में मंदिरों से आने वाली आरती की गूंज है, सिर्फ सिसकियां ले रहा था। क्योंकि अंग्रेजी हुकूमत ने इस मुल्क को वहां से कमजोर किया था जहां से यह मुल्क सबसे ज्यादा मजबूत था, और इन्हीं के चलते इस अजीम हिंदुस्तान को दो टुकड़ों में तकसीम कर दिया गया। जब कश्ती साबितो सालिम थी, साहिल की तमन्ना किसको थी? अब ऐसी शिकस्ता कश्ती पर साहिल की तमन्ना कौन करे? लेकिन वो लोग जो इस मुल्क की आजादी के लिए अंग्रेजी हुकूमत से नबरदाजमा रहे, उन्होंने ये फैसला किया कि हमारा मुल्क एक ऐसा मुल्क होगा जो बराबरी की बात करेगा, जो कमजोर हैं उन्हें सहारा देगा। इस मुल्क का हर शहरी ज़हनी और जिस्मानी तौर पर आजाद होगा। इन्हीं बातों को अमली जामा पहनाते हुए आज ही के दिन सन 1950 में इस मुल्क के हिस्से में दूसरी आजादी आई। मौजूद सामईन, बरतानवी हुकूमत ने इस मुल्क में उठने वाली हर उस आवाज को दबा दिया जिससे एहतजाज की लय उठ सकती थी, चाहे वो मौलाना अबुल कलाम आजाद के अल हिलाल अल बलाग हों या फिर मौलाना हजरत मोहानी का 1903 में लिखा गया वो मजमून कि जिसकी बिना पर उन्हें जेल की सलाखों के पीछे डाल दिया गया। बकौल भगत सिंह, गोरे चले जाएंगे, भूरे हम पर राज करेंगे। बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर की दूरंदेशी ने शायद इस खतरे को भांप लिया था कि इक्तदार के नशे में कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि उस जुल्म और सितम की दास्तां को दोहराया जाए जो अंग्रेजी हुकूमत ने हिंदुस्तानियों पर की थी। तभी तो दस्तूरे हिंद की दफा 19 इजहार ख्याल की आजादी की वकालत करती है, वहीं दफा 23 मजदूरों और किसानों के इस्तेसाल के खिलाफ खड़ी हुई नजर आती है। हमारे आइन की खूबसूरती यही है कि हमारा आइन तादाद की तफरीक से पाक है। जहां हिंदुस्तान का आइन अक्सरियत को अपनी तहजीब की नुमाइंदगी की इजाजत देता है, वहीं अक़लियतों को भी अपनी तहजीब व सकाफत और अपनी ज़बान व मजहब को फ़रोग देने के लिए अपने इदारे कायम करने का हक फराहम भी करता है। दस्तूर हिंद की दफ़ा 29 और 30 मेरी इस बात की ज़मानत देती हैं। मौज़ूद सामीन, किसी भी मुल्क का आइन अच्छा या बुरा नहीं होता है, बल्कि वो हुकूमत और आवाम के मस्बत और मनफी इस्तेमाल पर इन्हिसार करता है। इस बात की वजाहत सेकुलरिज्म के अलंबरदार बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर की 25 नवंबर 1949 में की गई दस्तूर साज की असेंबली से मुनक्किद होती है। सो हमें और आपको यह चाहिए कि हम अपने आइन का इस्तेमाल करके इस मुल्क को और भी खूबसूरत बनाने की कोशिश करें और अपने हुकूक व फराइज में तवाज़ुन कायम करते हुए इस मुल्क की उखुवत और भाईचारे की फ़ज़ा गर्दालूद ना होने दें। अलीगढ़ मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी का एक तालिब इल्म होने की हैसियत से मैं कुछ बातों पे रोशनी डालना चाहूँगा। हम सर सैयद को मानने और उनके विजन पर चलने वाले लोग हैं। जिस तरह से अलीगढ़ मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी ने इस मुल्क की फलाह और बहबूदी के लिए अपने दानिश्वरों को तैयार करने का काम किया है, आज फिर उसी फिक्र का असर नौ जायजा लेने की जरूरत है, जिसके लिए हमें अपने आइन को पढ़ना होगा और हमें अपने आइन को समझना होगा। अपनी बातों को यहीं पर खत्म करते हुए, छुपाकर आस्ती में बिजलियां रख ली हैं गर्दों ने, अनादिल बाग के गाफिल न बैठे आशियानों में, न समझोगे तो मिट जाओगे ए हिंदोस्तां वालों, तुम्हारी दास्तां तक भी ना होगी दास्तानों में। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
Thank you, Asif Saeed Saab. Now I will request Honorable Vice Chancellor Saab to kindly address the gathering.
Pro Vice Chancellor Professor Zahiruddin, Registrar Mr. Abdul Hamid, Finance Officer, Controller of Examinations, Dean Students Welfare, Proctor, Deans of Faculties, Principals of Colleges and Polytechnics, Provosts, Chairpersons, other university officials and functionaries, my dear students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good morning to all of you. First of all, I like to wish all of you a very happy Republic Day. All of us have gathered here to celebrate the Republic Day of our country. India became free from the British rule on the 15th August 1947, but the Indian Constitution came into force on the 26th January 1950. Since then, we have been celebrating this day every year as a Republic Day. It's a day of national pride and is hence celebrated with great zeal, enthusiasm, and gaiety. This day reminds us of the struggle our torchbearers put in to achieve Poorn Swaraj. We pay homage to our great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who was father of the Indian Constitution, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel, Bhagat Singh, Subhash Chandra Bose, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, and others, who devoted their entire lives to achieve freedom for our country. Our Constitution is not just a mere set of fundamental laws that form the basis of governance, but it embodies certain basic values, philosophies, and objectives. As the student speakers have rightly pointed out, these values find expression in various articles and provisions of our Constitution, as envisaged in the preamble, pertaining to sovereignty, socialism, secularism, democracy, republican character, justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, human dignity, and the unity and integrity of the nation. Our founding fathers had visualized it in India, whose future lay in the mutual coexistence of various religions, cultures, ethnicities, and languages. The progress, unity, and integrity of a nation depends on granting equal rights, equal opportunities, and justice for all its citizens. The vision of the founder of Aligarh Muslim University, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan, encompassed the idea of unity in diversity. Hence, the portals of this university have always remained open to all without any discrimination of region, religion, caste, or creed. By the grace of God and untiring efforts from all quarters, we have been successful in making our university a leading educational institution that is recognized for its high quality education, nationally and internationally. In the course of last 100 years, AMU has carved a niche for itself in scholarship and research. We are privileged to have our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi address the AMU fraternity on its centenary celebrations. His encouraging words have instilled in us a firm resolve to carry forward the task of nation building with a new vigor and to the best of our ability. His reference to AMU as Mini India has reaffirmed AMU's true cosmopolitan and secular credentials. We have on our rolls students from 29 states and union territories and foreign students from about 20 countries. Early January 2020, 1 year back, we set ourselves on a task to build a landmark gateway, the Centenary Gate, a fitting tribute to mark the 100 glorious years of the establishment of our university. Alhamdulillah, we could complete this Herculean task in record time, despite the immense challenges we encountered due to COVID-19. It was inaugurated by our Chancellor, His Holiness Sayyidina Mufaddal Saifuddin. The Centenary Gate will shine a spotlight on the unique cultural heritage of AMU, will stand tall as a testimony of our undying love and will inspire our posterity to continue in the spirit of our founder, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. Numerous online conferences and seminars have been organized by many departments, including the Sir Syed Academy and various alumni associations, and continue to do so. A time capsule, the highlight of this Republic Day celebrations at Aligarh Muslim University, will be buried today to preserve AMU's magnificent 100 years history. It fills me with immense pride to state that in terms of handling the pandemic, which shook the basis of the entire world, AMU's performance was par excellence. AMU has played a vital role in testing, treatment of COVID-19 patients, and now conducting vaccine trials. I credit this effort to the entire AMU fraternity, particularly the doctors, nurses, and paramedical staff. The world's largest vaccine program is underway in India. India has always been at the forefront of vaccine development and production. The only way we can beat this pandemic is by mass vaccination program. As I said, India has always been at the forefront, both qualitatively and quantitatively in vaccine production. I request all to not believe in rumors and misinformation and cooperate in the mass vaccination program. All efforts are being made to start new courses for our students in the centenary year with a primary aim to open up job opportunities and an eye on employability. Some of the courses which have been started include DM Cardiology, PG Diploma in Pain Management, Intensive Care, Neuroanesthesia, BTech in Food Technology, MTech in Solar Energy, Biomedical Engineering, Artificial Intelligence, disaster management and earthquake engineering, robotic engineering, MSc in data sciences, and forensic and digital sciences. MSc in various subjects in agriculture sciences and MD in several subjects in Unani medicine. BSc nursing and paramedical courses will also be started in this session, inshallah. Growth and progress cannot happen if we do not adapt to new technologies and realities. I also take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Muhammad Shadab, a student of one of our schools, for winning the Prime Minister's Youth Award and interacting with the Honorable Prime Minister. Teamwork, consultation, coordination, and planning have been the hallmark in the successful completion of our projects. In the smooth functioning of the university, the support I got from the teachers, supporting staff, students, alumni, and well-wishers have played a pivotal role. I am greatly indebted to all of you. In the end, I exhort everyone to strengthen our democracy by being united, fearless, and positive in our attitude. Let us forge forward confidently to healthy, strong, and self-reliant India. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for addressing the gathering. Now I sincerely thank all the guests present here for attending the celebrations of Republic Day. This program comes to end here. Thank you, Shukriya, Allah Hafiz.